We're walking right now with a farmer whose land was totally destroyed. As you can see here, his house was also burned right in front of his land. Israel claims that rockets were fired from here, but obviously, as you can see, they bulldozed the entire area, and there is nothing that has to do with any kind of rockets in here. The tomatoes plants were totally destroyed. He says that this was the only source of income for him, and until now it's all destroyed. We'll be walking ahead more and to see how they destroyed even everything in this farm, and how they destroyed the greenhouses right in front of us. So let's watch. As you can see, the water main pipelines were also attacked. The infrastructure was totally destroyed in this land. This would need not only an end of an aggression, but this would also need a rebuilding of the infrastructure of Gaza. Those are water pipelines that are already targeted. This explains what Israel was doing. I don't think that those pipelines were actually any security threat to the Israeli entity. This room was actually used to keep the fertilizers and the equipment and supplies the farmers need to keep on farming their lands. And simply Israel totally destroyed it, not caring for anything. They're leaving here signs to show that they were not only committing an aggression against Palestinians, but they were actually committing a genocide against every living thing, not only people, but also plants and trees as well.
عندنا كمان شرق الهساسه انا الحين باخذكم هناك
والشعره والحال كله دمر الناس
كلها هي تم زارعين.
Those used to be greenhouses where Palestinians used to plant their food, to plant their vegetables with very primitive resources. But even this was also a target for the Israeli continuous aggression on Gaza. Farmers until the moment, they're all telling me that this was their land, they farmed it, it was just in front of their house, there was nothing going on in here, but everything seems like a threat to Israel, and every chance or an opportunity that Gazans would have to live should be destroyed by Israel. This is what Israel has been proving since day one of the Israeli aggression on Gaza. So even if there's a ceasefire, what should the ceasefire do to fix all this destruction that has happened to Gaza? Israeli tanks and trucks bulldozed those farms, those lands where people used to farm. Not only did they destroy the lands, but they also destroyed with F-16 war planes the houses of the farmers. So it's not only one misery they have to deal with, but two, they lost their lands, they lost their houses as well. Not only plants, trees, or even people were suffering from the Israeli aggression on Gaza, but even animals were not able to make it. A chicken died because farmers could not reach their lands to feed them, not even water, not even food. Well, not only that, but also the Israeli continuous attacks and fire on those lands killed a lot of animals as well, where I'm standing right now. Farmers say that their losses are too huge to deal with. They don't even know how they will pay back people who even lend them money to be able to stand and to open a house and feed their kids. So we're talking about trees that were destroyed, animals that were killed, houses that were demolished in this area, and even people who were also killed. I'm standing right now with Salama Ghaboun, who is the owner of this barracks where farmers keep their essential equipment, supplies, and animals or cattle's food as well. This was also targeted with F-16 rockets. They destroyed even such places. Everything that has to do with the infrastructure in Gaza was a target of Israelis in Rafah area. So basically, we've seen animals being killed. We've seen plants, trees, lands that were bulldozed, and now even the barracks where they keep their things are also destroyed with F-16 rockets. You can see that it's all burned. Even the land is burned because of those rockets that caused fire. He told me that this place was on fire for 3 days. They could not get in here, and they could not stop the fire. So let's take a look on how it looks like from the inside. This is the food that the farmers used to feed their animals and their cattle. It was also poisoned now and is no more of any use after the Israeli F-16 rockets has targeted this place, making it of no use at all. As you can see, the place is totally destroyed. The ceiling is already on the ground. It is totally destroyed and it needs to be rebuilt all over again. We're actually standing right here, but we're feeling of those boards or the ceilings board to fall down on us anytime, as they can barely stand right now. As you can see, they're burned and they might fall down any second. So we need to get out of this place and witness the other Israeli crimes that have been taking place in this area. We're standing right now in a place where there were a number of clashes between both the Israeli occupation troops and the Palestinian resistance. Rafah was invaded by the Israeli troops, the Israeli tanks, and the Israeli bulldozers. As you can see, the amount of destruction right behind me is unbelievable. Once upon a time, there were homes right here. No more homes do exist. Whatever was supposed to be underground is basically above the ground right now. In this area, the capture of an Israeli soldier was reported as well, and the death of 2 other Israeli soldiers were reported. It's supposed to be in this area around where we're standing right now. This is the area where the clashes happened in Rafah, and right after this clashes, Rafah was totally destroyed. People were killed, and not even ambulances could reach this place anymore. Hospitals could not receive those who are injured in this area. And destroyed a house. Israel totally destroyed this house, as you can see. This was a kitchen, and those are all kitchen equipments that are already now under the rubble. Not only kitchen equipment and supplies are under the rubble, but also humans and people were killed and their bodies were buried under the rubble. There is a fridge right there, and that was a part in the house. It was a part of the kitchen, but right now it's out of the house. We're standing here right by another house that was destroyed by Israel. Actually, this house was taken by Israeli soldiers. They were living here during the Israeli aggression. Those are the cans of the food they were eating during their stay or their invasion in Gaza. We can see cigarettes boxes, we can see cans of their food, and even inside of the house there are more to see and more to witness. So basically they ask people to evacuate their houses. People get out of their houses, then Israel destroyed the house and make it a spot for them to stay. This is a house where Israel asked its people to evacuate and leave it. And once they left it, Israel took this house as a safe place and safe spot for them. They were actually sleeping on those mattresses. The Israeli soldiers were here, and this is their food they got with them in order to enjoy an Israeli invasion and to enjoy killing more civilians and killing innocent people. If you can see, those are chips, cans, their food. They were even playing cards in Gaza. And then they say there were resistance, they say there were fighters inside of their house, and they take this as an excuse to continue their killing against Palestinians and against civilians. What kind of resistance is it inside this house if they were playing cards, eating food, and sleeping on the pillows and the mattresses of the owners of those houses? They even got with them a black cloth so they can sleep in the morning and not get annoyed with the sun. So this is what the Israeli soldiers also got with them. So they would enjoy a life inside of a Palestinian house, and they would enjoy killing Palestinian people. This house now is a story that the owners of this house are telling me that they can never forget the scenes they have witnessed once they were able to get back to their homes. They told me that their house was surrounded by tanks. They could not reach this house at all, as Israel was basically enjoying their house. They have told me that the Holy Quran was also put inside the bathroom. They took everything inside of this house and put it inside of the bathroom, including the Quran. This is another room here where they were actually playing and drawing. The owners of those houses, of this house, told me that an Israeli soldier actually drew this on the walls. So they were drawing, they were playing cards, they were eating junk food, they were eating meals, and they were also sleeping. And then simply, their excuse is that Hamas was here. Their excuse is that resistance and fighters were here. Where is Hamas and where is fighter? This is a house that belongs to civilians, nothing more, nothing less. But the Israeli lies continue, and the world chooses to believe their continuous lies, and they choose to believe their lies that only cause the death of more Palestinians and the death of more civilians and children in particular. So those who claim they know humanity and they care about the human rights seem to totally misunderstand what's happening in Gaza and not even care a bit about the human rights in Gaza. Well, if they don't care about the human rights, do they care about animal rights? Here's a dog that was shot by the Israeli troops and then was executed in a very ugly way. So they did not leave anything alive. They killed everything. They killed the humanity, they killed animals, they killed dogs. Maybe they were bothered by the dog barking while they were trying to sleep in a house they invaded and the house they stole. This is Rafah, and this is the story of Rafah. This is only one story of hundreds other that people and the entire world needs to witness and needs to understand. This is a misery, and I cannot even comprehend all of this in only 2 days of a humanitarian ceasefire. If we were given the chance to go deep inside every single house, if we were given the chance to talk to every single Palestinian who was injured or who was killed or who lost a loved one, I'm pretty sure that not even an entire life would give us this chance and would satisfy the ears of those people. We're standing here around 2 kilometers far away from the occupied lands and the borders with the occupied lands. There stands the occupier, the victimizer, and the oppressor. Here stand the occupied, the oppressed, and the victimized. The difference is that people here refuse to give up and refuse to surrender. They believe that they will rebuild a better life for a better generation. They all believe in what Mahmoud Darwish, a Palestinian poet, once said, that on this land is what is really worth living for. From Rafah area, for PressTV, Halla Alsafadi.